right, happy Friday, guys. Everybody has the question right now, how can I get into a home with zero money down, right? So I want to go over that question. I'm going to give you some typical numbers on some different scenarios. I will tell you, though, everything I'm saying is close, but if you want real accuracy, you're going to want to reach out to a lender. If you need a lender connection, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to get you in touch with one. Feel free to put any comments down in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, or you can go to Facebook and DM me anytime. And again, I'm more than happy to answer any question you've got. So typically, you've got three basic types of loans, right? You've got conventional, VA, and FHA. If you're military, VA is a nice opportunity for you. FHA and conventional can be used by anybody who qualify, right? You don't have to be military or anything like that. Generally speaking, conventional starts out at 5% down. I've seen 3% down, but for the most part, it's 5% down. FHA is 3.5% down, and VA is 0% down. Now, you can go higher on any of those, and there's actually incentive to go higher, right? There's something called private mortgage insurance, and if you don't have enough down, 20%, they're going to charge you private mortgage insurance. So if you're looking at the difference between 5% down and 20% down, and you can't afford 20, but you can afford 10, there really isn't a big incentive to put 10% down versus 5%, other than the fact that you'll have a lower payment, right? That's it. That's the only reason to do it. So if you can get up to 20, yes, you'll get rid of that private mortgage insurance. But other than that, you might as well go at the lowest level, right? Unless, again, you want that lower mortgage payment. So again, conventional 5, FHA 3.5, VA 0% down. The only trick is you've still got those pesky closing costs, right? So that's two different things. You've got the down payment and you've got the closing costs. The down payment is the bank saying, hey, we want some skin in the game. We want to know that if this thing goes south, you're going down too. We want to know that you've got a little pain involved. And the more pain you're willing to put in, the better rate we'll give you, or the better terms we'll give you, something like that, right? So you've got different things involved there. So you can look at the different scenarios with your lender. All right, so you've got the conventional, say 5% down plus closing costs. How much are closing costs? Closing costs differ from state to state, county to county, city to city. I'll tell you, in this area, I usually tell people right around 3.5% is pretty common closing costs, right? Now, some of those costs are percentages, and some of those costs are flat fees. So the higher in price you go, if you've got $1 million home, you're probably not going to be at 3.5%. You're probably going to be closer to 2.75 or 3%, something like that, because all of those flat fees are a smaller percentage of $1 million. If you're coming in on a $250,000 home, you might be closer to 3.75 or 4%. Again, this is completely dependent upon the realtor and the lender that you're working with. So make sure that you shop those costs, okay? And that's a whole other video talking about shopping costs. A lot of times people will look at the fees and they'll say, this fee's better than this fee. This is what I'm going with. Or this rate's better than this rate. This is what I'm going with. And I would actually argue you want to look at the whole scenario over the length of time you think you're going to be there, right? I would pay higher fees if I got my rate lower, knowing I'm going to live here for the next 15, 20 years. Some people won't. Some people don't know that, hey, I can actually save on fees, get a higher rate, and if I'm only going to live here 2-3 years, I'm actually saving money over the 2-3 year span, right? So you want to have that discussion, and you want to take that into consideration before making your decision. So now, how do you do zero down? There's a couple things you can do to get either zero down or really close to zero down. Number one, if you're a veteran, you've got the VA benefit. You can use the VA benefit, right? That's zero down. That's your down payment. You've still got closing costs. A lot of vets don't know that. So your closing costs are still going to be right in that 3 to 4% range, but depending upon the scenario, if this is the first time you've used your VA benefit, a bunch of different things. Do you have any disabilities, stuff like that? They've got a chart that will show you what your VA funding fee is going to be. That funding fee can be expensive, right? That funding fee can also be zero. So you can check it out, take a look at that. When it comes to closing costs, can you ask the seller to pay for closing costs? You can. And you can do that on FHA or conventional as well. But here's the thing. Let's just say for round numbers, it's 3% in closing costs, right? If you've got a house right now in this market, remember, this is the hottest market we've ever seen in history. You've got a home on the market and it's $400,000. And you're saying, Joe, I want to come in 400 grand. I'm going to use my VA loan or FHA loan, whatever it is, but let's use VA for an example here. And I want to come in and I want to win. Right off the bat, most homes are going to sell at value or even a little bit higher in this market, right? At price, I should say, or a little bit higher. So if the comps were coming in 2-3 months ago, and that's what we're using is, comps from 30 days ago, 60 days, 90 days ago to kind of judge where we should be at on the market. If that said, hey, you should be in that $400,000 range, that home could sell for 410, 420, 430, or even more, right? So if you want to win, you might have to come in at 410, 420, 430. If you're coming in at 420, and then you're saying, Joe, we'd like our closing costs to be zero. How do we do that? You can ask the seller. In this example, 3% of 420 would be what, 12.6? You can ask them to cover it. Most sellers are going to have better offers, right? But a lot of people will say, okay, if we're asking for 12, let's just round it up to 13 grand in closing costs. Instead of giving them 420, Joe, I got an idea. Let's give them 433, right? The 13 grand more. And we'll just ask them to cover our closing costs with that difference we're giving them. The problem becomes appraisal, right? It's still got to appraise. And right now in this record-setting real estate market, we're seeing a lot of appraisals come back short. When I say a lot, it's probably 10, 15% are coming back short. And when you see the really good-looking homes that are really staged well, priced well, get multiple offers, you get the bidding war, those are the houses everybody are interested in. People say, I don't want to get into a bidding war. And I tell them, if you don't want to get into a bidding war, go find an ugly house or a house that needs repairs or has ugly wallpaper throughout and chip tile, or it's way overpriced. You go find one of those houses, you will not get into a bidding war. Otherwise, if you want a decent house that's decently priced and it looks sharp, there are going to be multiple people interested, right? There are a lot of buyers for every one home on the market right now. So when you ask for that, the problem's going to be, is the appraisal going to come in? So as a listing agent, we're going to have a discussion with the seller. And we're going to say, hey, listen, right now in this situation, yes, this offer is better at 433 than this one at 420, right? It's higher, but you're going to have to pay their closing costs. Once you do that, you're still at 420. And here's the thing, that one is going to have a bigger problem with appraisal than the one at 420. If it appraises at 415, on the 420, we're $5 grand short, right? Not a big deal. But if it appraises at 415 on the 433, now we're, 15, 16, 18 short on the appraisal. That's going to be tough to negotiate. $5 grand, we'll negotiate that all day long. Someone's going to pony up and make the deal happen every single time. But 18 gets a little more challenging, right? So a lot of times that seller is going to go with the person who's got the offer that's going to get through appraisal easiest. We're seeing a lot of people right now too say, hey, listen, I'm going to give you 420 and I'm going to pony up $10, $20, $30,000 in cash if it falls short. So let me give you an example. Let's say it comes in $10,000 short at 420. So, and you're on a VA loan. Instead of paying 420 and getting 420 financed and then paying your roughly $13,000 in fees, it comes in at 410. Now your financing is on 410. You're paying your closing costs based on a 410 price, but that $10,000 short, you're promising in this example to cover that with your own cash, right? That's going to improve your offer. A lot of people say, I don't want to do that. I want to keep my cash. You can. But in this market, if you're willing to pony that cash up to cover the chance that an appraisal might be short, it's going to make your offer look better, right? So there's all your scenarios, right? And the same is true with FHA. You've still got to come up with 3.5%, and you've still got closing costs, but you can ask that seller to cover your closing costs. But remember all those same challenges that we talked about with the VA offer, right? How are you going to do it? If you don't come up to do it, then your offer isn't quite as good looking as the other offers in most cases, right? And if you do come up, now we got that a problem with appraisal. Now, there are some situations with loans where you can take money from a friend or a family member as a gift, and you can use that for some of those fees, right? Make sure you talk to your lender. Also, sometimes those fee or those gifts that you get have to be seasoned. Seasoned means it sits in a bank account for 60 days, and we can prove that with the bank statements to show that it's been in there. So you want to have that discussion with your lender long before. A lot of times we get a phone call that says, hey, Joe, I need to be in a house in 30 days. Let's go. And then they need funds from somebody, and it's like, it's going to take 60 days to season those funds, and then we can go out looking. It's going to take another week or so to find a house, and then maybe 30 days to close. We're looking at about 100 days out, right? So the only reason I bring that up is talking to that lender, talking to your realtor early is going to be an incredible help, right? Last thing I want to talk about is first-time homebuyer programs. Get the question all the time, Joe, I heard about these first-time homebuyer programs. Can we get help with them? Absolutely, you can. And if you go Google it, it's pretty simple. You can find the first-time homebuyer program. In fact, I tell you what, I'm not prepared at all to do this, which I think is better because I want you to see how quick and easy it is. So I'm going to come in right now and we're going to go look up right here. Florida first-time homebuyer programs. There it is. And if you come down to, let's see, where did I see this last time? Let's go. It might be here. I just saw this. Okay, so we got FHA first-time home buyer, loan, low credit score is great. You can apply through there. I thought there was a better site that I saw the other day. I don't know if I like any of these. FHA, HUD, that one might be my one. Yeah, let's come back up here and check out this one. Okay, so here we go. We can look up St. Lucie. So you can look up your county. This might be, okay, and then there's a phone number you can call. And they've actually got a list of specific lenders that you can work on this with. You're going to need income, right? A certain income. You got to be below that income. You got to be in a certain area. You got to have a certain credit score. But if you meet all the criteria, you can get assistance, right? They're usually going to say they want you staying in that home for X amount of years. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay that money back because they want people staying in houses. They want to give you the ability to do it, but they want to know that you're committed to it long term. And this isn't a 1 or a 2 year flip or something like that, right? So there are options out there. You can go out, you can find it really easily just by looking it up. But if you need any help with that, reach out to me. And I know I've got the link on my phone. I'll send you the link and I can connect you with the different lenders who can do that too. Those programs generally have higher fees associated with it that they'll wrap into the loan. There's a few more risks. I talked about having to stay in the home for a certain amount of time and you have to pay it back. You're limited to certain lenders, but I will tell you locally, we've got really good lenders that work on those programs. And a lot of times the rate's going to be higher, right? So there are some stipulations with it. There's a few pain points with it, but if you're in a situation where you want to get into a house and that's your only option, it might be a good one. Last thing I'll say is this. It's no surprise that rents are going up. Everybody knows rents are going up. I get questions all the time. Joe, I got $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 for a rental. What can I get? Right now, out of all the rentals on the MLS, if I look it up in Port St. Lucie, the other day I looked up under $1,500 and I think there was one. There was one, right? There just aren't a lot of options. And owners of homes know that the market is at a peak right now. So they're selling in record numbers. They're trying to sell and take the profits in, which means you a lot of times are out of a home, right? Or they're seeing that everybody's rent is going up, so they raise their rent. The rent goes from $1,300 to $1,900. That's a little too much, so people need to leave. I'm telling you, if you can own a home, in almost every single case, it's going to make more financial sense. I know it's scary if you've never done it. Man, it's a big step. But having somebody you trust sit down with you and talk you through the different steps, showing you the numbers, man, it's going to make your life completely different. And that whole time that you're taking that money and essentially throwing out the window at somebody else's mortgage, right? You're paying down the owner of your home. If you're renting, the owner of your home's mortgage. Instead, you'll be paying down your mortgage. So in 5-10 years, When you bought that home for 250, 300, 350, you're going to look and you're going to see, wow, not only has the market gone up in value, my home is worth more, but what I owe has gone down. And that difference, that's called equity, baby. And that equity is nice. And when you go to sell that home, I can't tell you how fun it is. It's one of the funnest things I do, is helping a first-time home seller sell their home and get a nice 5-6 digit check. And they've never had a check that big. Man, is that a fun time. So guys, if you are in that situation and you're thinking, no way can I buy, don't say no way so quick. Feel free to reach out. We'd be more than happy to walk you through. If you can't, we'll tell you. But if you can, man, would it be worth the 5-10 minutes. Guys, if you've got any questions, reach out. Otherwise, have an absolutely phenomenal day.